I am not one of those fans, and I'm in front of the tree. I'm trying to be jolly. I'm trying to be joyful. I'm sick. Literally, my throat's killing me. I'm stopped up. I got a cold. And I don't want to say anything that I'm going to regret. But here we go. Titans lose again. They're 2-8. Listen. Titans are not a very good team. We knew that. But I got to talk about this officiating. I got to talk about referees because I never want to be one of those fans that blames referees. Okay, it's lazy most of the time to just blame everything on a referee and we didn't get any of the calls. It's hard to beat the other team and the referees. Usually that's a pretty lazy argument, but let me tell you something. To think that Clete Blakeman and his officiating crew are going to go home tonight and sleep like a baby, knowing how bad they are at their jobs. Knowing how bad they are at their jobs. Knowing that they're incompetent. Like in any other line of work, if you were that bad at your job, you'd be fired. You know what I'm saying? Like if you were a mechanic who didn't know how to fix cars, or you kept making cars worse, you kept messing cars up even more, they would fire you. If you were a cashier who couldn't figure out how to give people the correct amount of change, they would fire you. But apparently, if you are an NFL official who just makes game-changing, awful calls that literally help determine the outcome of games, that are bogus, that are awful, that are made up, that are absolutely so bad that the announcers had to make a montage at the end of the game of all of the terrible calls against Tennessee today. Apparently, if you're an NFL referee and you're that incompetent, you get praised by the boss. Roger Goodell says things like, our officiating is as good as it's ever been. And it's not just Titans. I know there are other teams out there. Every team has experienced this at some point. But it's embarrassing for this league and this game that I love that this has to happen. I don't have anything against Minnesota, but when Kevin O'Connell, their coach, was going off on the referees because they called something incomplete and they had to review it, I was like, get out of here, dude. Get out of here. These refs are part of the reason you won this game. These refs are part of the reason. Literally, the call on Mike Brown on 4th and goal that would have given us the ball back and instead gives them 6 points. Inexcusable. Somebody should be fired. Somebody should be fired. But they won't. They'll get a promotion. They'll get no repercussions at all. If you're a coach and you do something stupid, you have to pay a fine. Which, by the way, I said this on Twitter. If Brian Callahan wants to gain some good favor with this fan base, and he should want to, he needs to go nuclear in this post-game press conference and just take the fine. Just take the fine. If you want to get this fan base more on your side, that's what you would do. And I hope he does it, but he probably won't. The call against Mike Brown, the phantom call on, I believe, Jarvis Brownlee that negated a sack that would have gotten us the ball back and then resulted in them scoring a touchdown. Every announcer on the game was like, what are we even doing? It's just total robbery. I would love to just come on here and talk about the players and the coaches, but instead I have to talk about officiating because it's so bad. And like, I hate to like call for a man's job, but Clete Blakeman and his crew should not be employed. It's just awful. And there was a part of me, and I'm not a violent person, but there was a part of me wishing that Brian Callahan would throw a punch. I literally, we're 2-8. Who cares? I was hoping Brian Callahan would just deck one of them in the face. Honestly. And I'm not a violent person. But it just laughable. The Calvin Ridley touchdown that got called back because of an illegal formation. Like, unbelievable. Unbelievable. We're already not very good. We don't need you helping them. Just crap calls, man. I'm not saying that, like, the Titans should have won, the Titans would have won, But you can't even compete with that. Like, you can't even, there's no point in even being on the field. If the referees are going to make calls like that, like, why even bother? I'm going to try to talk about other elements of the game. Will Levis, I thought played well. Now, he still has pocket presence issues. Still holds on to the ball too long. Still, that read option. I mean, I don't think he read the read option right one time today, but today was his best performance in a long time. The 98-yarder to NWI, great play, great throw, great catch and run for NWI. He made some nice throws today, and when you consider what the protection was, listen, I knew the Titans' offensive line, stop, bud. I knew the Titans' offensive line was going to struggle today, okay? I knew the Titans' offensive line was going to struggle, but it was even worse than I thought. Right tackle, yes, liability. NPF, probably just need to cut him. Duncan's hurt. Watson is a penalty machine, and Isaiah Prince is the new guy in there, and he can't even line up right. So just no answers at right tackle, but we knew that. The protection was, I thought Dylan Radin struggled today. We'll see the, kind of the film and breakdowns on offensive line this week, but the offensive line was bad in run and pass blocking today. And I knew they were going to struggle because, gosh, why are you getting up in my face, boy? I knew that they were going to struggle against the blitz of Minnesota because they're so aggressive, but I was even worse than I thought. And kudos to Will Levis for even hanging in there on some of those throws. He made some nice throws today. And hey, we'll see what he does the rest of the season. There's literally no other point in watching this team the rest of the season because they're 2-8. Like, you can't even make a case for an outside chance of making a run. It's over. So you may as well just watch him and see how he does, and that's pretty much it. But considering the protection today, I thought Will Levis was pretty good. Offensive line, awful. Calvin Ridley, good. Yeah, I think since the Detroit game, Calvin Ridley's been very good. NWI continues to be good. The run game was probably the worst it's been yet today. Run game was awful. Couldn't get anything going. Defensively, we're struggling in the secondary because we're down our top two corners. We've been down our top two corners for the last month, and we may as well just keep them out. Keep Snead and Awuzie out and let Jarvis Brownlee get the reps at this point because we're 2-8. But the defense fought. They fought. But at some point, yes, the Vikings are talented, but you just can't overcome doing your job, doing it well, and then having the refs just make up something because they felt like it. I thought good game by guys like Darrell Baker. I thought Tavondre Sweat was doing some good things today. I would just say at times there was just poor tackling. We've seen that before from the Titans this year. I mean, they just could not get Darnold down. A couple times Aaron Jones just ended up getting 5 yards when he should have had -5 yards. Tackling was not great, but this team's not great. And, the big question is among the fan base, how much do you believe in Will Levis now that he's put together? I mean, last week was okay. This week was good. So we'll see. But, yeah, this is just a terrible season. I hate this. And I hate NFL officiating. And I hate the fact that they're so bad at it and that they can't do their jobs and that they're incompetent and that I have to sit here and watch this every week. And it's ruining the game that I love. That's what I hate more than anything. NFL officiating, they should be embarrassed. Every referee on that field today should be embarrassed. They should have to go home to their families and apologize to their kids and their wives for how bad they are at their jobs and for setting a bad example for their children and grandchildren. That's what they should have to do today, for setting a bad example for them in the workplace because you're telling them that you can be bad at your job and keep getting paid. Brian Callahan, I don't know, dude. I don't know. I mean, the team fought. The team fought today, but I still don't think it's impossible that he might not be back next season. He probably will, but I don't know. I'm just exhausted. I'm sick. I want to go to bed. Tighten up.